AI is everywhere, right? It feels like it's changing, well, everything. But you gotta ask, where did all this come from? Well, behind this huge explosion, there's really one company and one leader whose decisions decades ago are literally shaping our world right now. So, let's get into it. This is the story of Jensen Huang, NVIDIA, and the incredible visionary bets that built the AI future we're all living in. That quote right there, that single idea is the key to understanding this entire story. It's all about long-term conviction. I mean, we're talking about believing in a future that almost nobody else could see and then having the guts to actually build the tools to make it real. So, when you think of NVIDIA, you probably think of video games, right? That's where most of us know them from. But their influence goes so much deeper than that. We're talking medical research, self-driving cars. They've basically become the engine room for the most advanced tech on the planet. And they did it by completely reinventing the very idea of what a computer is and what it can even do. To really get how we got here, we have to rewind. We're going back to the 90s. And what's wild is that the story of the AI revolution, it doesn't even start with AI. Nope. It starts with a huge insight about a totally different way to make computers work. Okay, so for decades, computers all ran on one thing, the CPU, the central processing unit. You can think of a CPU as a specialist. It's incredibly smart, super fast at solving really complex problems, but it does them one step at a time, sequentially. But NVIDIA had this other idea. They looked at huge challenges like rendering graphics for a video game and realized you could break them down into thousands of tiny, simple problems. So they pioneered the GPU, the graphics processing unit. And if the CPU is a specialist, the GPU is a whole army. It solves all those thousands of little problems at the exact same time. This paintball robot analogy is just perfect, right? The CPU is like a sniper, firing one paintball at a time very precisely. The GPU, it's a massive wall of cannons, unleashing a tidal wave of paintballs all at once. That's the difference. That's parallel processing, and that single concept is the foundation for literally everything NVIDIA built. So why video games? Of all things, why start there? Well, it was the perfect test case. Think about it. Creating those rich, realistic 3D worlds required a ton of parallel processing. So games became the perfect launch pad, and it created this amazing flywheel effect. You had this huge, passionate market of gamers who would buy the latest and greatest cards. That money funded massive R&D, which led to even better, more powerful technology. That new tech made the games look even more amazing, which just grew the market even more. It was this beautiful, self-reinforcing cycle of innovation. Okay, but here's the next big question. How do you unlock all that incredible parallel power for something more than just games? Because that was the puzzle. You had all these brilliant researchers in fields like medical imaging and chemistry who were looking at these GPUs and going, whoa, these things are insanely powerful. They were literally trying to hack them, to trick the GPUs into thinking their complex science problems were actually like a 3D spaceship just so they could tap into that power. But it was super hard, really clunky, it wasn't working well. And this is where NVIDIA made another huge bet. Their solution was called CUDA. So what is it? Think of it like a software key, or a universal translator. It's a platform that lets any programmer in any field speak directly to the GPU using coding languages they already knew. It was a game changer. All of a sudden, that massive army of parallel processors, it wasn't just for gamers anymore. It was for scientists, researchers, it was for everyone. And this quote from Jensen Huang just nails their whole philosophy. If you don't build it, they can't come. I mean, think about how optimistic, how risky that is. They were building this incredibly complex platform for a community of users that, well, it didn't really exist yet. They just believed that if they built the tool, brilliant people would show up and find amazing things to do with it. It was a massive leap of faith. And let me tell you, that leap of faith, it paid off. Oh boy, did it pay off. In a way that would totally change the world and lead directly to the Big Bang moment for modern AI. So for years, AI research was kind of plugging along, making slow progress. Then 2012 happened, and everything changed. A neural network called AlexNet, which was trained, you guessed it, on NVIDIA GPUs using CUDA, entered this big, famous image recognition competition. And it didn't just win, it demolished the competition. I mean, it wasn't even close. This was the moment. This was the proof that GPUs were the missing piece, the engine that was going to power a whole new era of AI. But here's the thing you have to remember. This was not an overnight success. Just look at this timeline. The bet starts way back in the early 2000s with CUDA. Then you have the proof, the aha moment with AlexNet in 2012. But what happened next is the most important part. For the next 10 years, while AI was still mostly stuck in research labs, NVIDIA went all in. They re-engineered their entire company, their entire computing stock, for this AI-driven future that they were just convinced was coming. And we're not talking about some little side project here. Jensen Huang has said they invested tens of billions of dollars into this vision. Over a decade, long before the current AI boom made it seem like an obvious bet. Now that is the kind of insane conviction we were talking about at the start. So if the last decade's bet was all about parallel computing and AI, what's the next big bet? Well, the vision now is to take AI out of the digital world and put it into the physical world. Yep, we're talking about robotics. But there's a huge problem with training robots, a fundamental challenge. The real world is, well, it's slow, it's expensive, and it can be pretty dangerous for a robot that's learning. Just imagine trying to teach a robot to walk by letting it fall down over and over again. It would break, right? It would just wear out long before it learned anything useful. The physical world is just too slow and unforgiving for that kind of trial and error. So what's NVIDIA's solution? To build a digital universe, a virtual training ground for robots. You can think of it in two main parts. First, you've got a world model called Cosmos. This basically teaches the AI the common sense rules of physics. Gravity exists, things have inertia. Then you have Omniverse, which is a physics simulator that creates a perfectly realistic digital twin of the real world. So what's the result? You get this incredible virtual world where a robot can learn safely and super fast, experiencing millions of years of trial and error in just a few days, all without ever getting a single scratch. And that technology leads to this really bold prediction from Jensen. Everything that moves will be robotic someday, and it will be soon. And he's not just talking about the big robot arms you see in a factory. No, he means everything. Self-driving cars, autonomous lawnmowers, those little delivery drones, and yeah, even humanoid robots. The vision is a world where automation is just seamlessly woven into our physical lives. And to make this a little more personal, just imagine having your own R2-D2. And I don't necessarily mean a little rolling trash can, but an AI companion. An AI that's with you all the time, across all your devices, your glasses, your car, your home. It's an AI that grows and learns with you throughout your entire life, acting as your own personal assistant for everything. So, okay, this technology is absolutely incredible. But what does it all really mean for you, for me? How does this huge shift in computing and AI actually change our day-to-day lives? At its core, it's all about empowerment. It means you could have a personal AI tutor with you 24/7, ready to explain any subject, instantly. In your work, it means you can automate all the boring, repetitive stuff, the drudgery, and free yourself up to focus on the creative, strategic parts that are actually valuable. When the barrier to getting knowledge and getting things done gets this low, it gives all of us the confidence to tackle much bigger, much more ambitious problems than we ever could before. And really, that's the ultimate vision. The goal here isn't to replace people, it's to augment us, to give every single one of us tools that amplify our own intelligence, our creativity, our capabilities. So you see, the story of NVIDIA, it isn't just a bet on a new kind of computer. It's a bet on a new kind of human potential. The only question left is, what are we all going to build with it?